Kiss me, I am Irish. Welcome to Jam TV's show number 102. Well, if everything goes well, you will have just watched 2 hours of the Mostly Green Band at the Gaelic American Club in Fairfield, Connecticut, playing Irish music and me playing accordion. And now it's 8 o'clock and we're starting the show on Jam TV. So this is a pre-taped show. We're not going to create any illusions that it's not. But I did want to do something that you could watch while you're blasted from being out drinking for St. Patty's Day. Like my shirt? Good one. What do you think, Bill Noman? You like my shirt?
Feeling lucky? Yeah, right.
I'm feeling lucky.
Feeling lucky, punk.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's nice. And I wish I could come up with the results of the basketball games that are going to be played between now and then.
Yeah, you'd be a rich man if you could do that.
The 4 winners of the play-in games in the NCAAs, I could basically retire.
Exactly. So plug your Irish gig, which people have already missed by now.
By the time you read this, there'll be do you ever see the movie Fail Safe?
Which is that one?
Fail Safe is black and white.
Yeah.
Henry Fonda is the president. Larry Hagman is his interpreter. Mm-hmm. And does just an amazing job, and it's from a great book. It's the same guys who wrote, I think, is Paris Burning, but it's a great book. And the premise is basically there is an error in the systems. They cannot call the planes back. The planes bomb Moscow, and it is a telephone conversation thing driven by the premier talking to the president, with Larry Hagman doing an insanely good job of, just, Mr. President, he seems edgy. He seems, that kind of stuff. And then, they quid pro quo it, and they have American bombers bomb New York. And
wow,
the little twist, the spoiler alert is, Hank Fonda's wife, the first lady, is in New York, just to sort of prove that it's real. And the guys who dropped the bombs in the B-29s or whatever the hell they're in, they take the suicide pills, they do it and then they kill themselves. It's just
wow. I gotta see that. I have never seen that.
It is black and white. And what got me to it was that when the guy is talking, how will we know that the bombs are landing? He said, well, Mr. President, you'll hear a high-pitched squeal, and then you're like, yeah, he's describing it, and then it happens, and it's like,
wow. I gotta see that. It's called Fail Safe.
Yeah, one of the best Cold War. It's the serious side of Dr. Strangelove.
See, that's not my speed. I love Dr. Strangelove, but if I'm going to go to the next thing, I'm going to do The President's Analyst. You ever see that one?
I'm familiar with it, but
oh my God, it's a dark comedy. I think James Coburn or somebody is the president, and it's about the Bell Telephone Company has decided to implant everybody at birth with a chip, and this is made in the 60s. And so what they do is they infiltrate the president by getting through to his analyst to put ideas in his head that he needs to pass this legislation. And it's a dark comedy. It's very zany and pretty funny. Did you freeze? I can't hear you. You muted your microphone, or I muted you. Uh-oh, you got to plug. Well, anyway, so for those of you, while Bill Noman's trying to get, oh, there you're back.
Yeah. It was a thing where my guitar touched the, you know how we were talking about these blue mics?
Don't touch anything.
The blue mics fall out.
Don't touch anything. There's too many wires to keep this going.
Like the back of the blue mics, they don't they don't fit well into the cord. That jack doesn't really, that blue, I don't know if your blue thing fits in nicely.
Nope.
If I were to lift mine up, it would fall out, so that's basically what
That
happens. And when it does that, it goes to mute.
If I stood up, it would fall out too. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So what do you got for us? You got some Irish music?
I do. I have some Irish songs, which some of them are written by Irish people, and other ones are written. There are a couple that are written by, including the first one that is written by Steve Earl, and Steve Earl, who is from Texas, and now he's kind of a native New Yorker. Like he's become like a New York guy.
Right. He
wrote this song called "Galway Girl," and Galway Girl has become a classic in Ireland. It has become like, there are YouTube videos of in Dublin, like, 250 people singing in it at the same time and playing, balalaikas and whatever.
Absolutely.
It's become a thing. And, the guy who wrote it.
Bill Gagan did a record a couple of years ago that I produced for him, and he did Galway Girl.
Yeah. No, I'm looking now at like a stink bug that just sort of landed over here. Okay.
All right. Like television.
The funny thing about stink bugs, I've never had a stink bug go stinky on me. No,
me neither. I don't even
I sort of get them in a tissue, and then I let them go to the water park or the toilet.
Ouch.
Said, Here we go. Are you tall enough for this ride? Bye-bye. See ya.
Good one. All right, go for it. Take it away.
Okay. Galway Girl by Steve Earl. And all of this would be better with a penny whistle, I can only tell you that. Well, I took a stroll on the old long walk, day. I met a little girl and we stopped to talk of a fine soft day. I ask you, friend, what's a fella to do? 'Cause her hair was black and her eyes were blue. And I knew right then I'd be taking a whirl round the Salt Hill Prom with the Galway Girl. That's where the penny whistle would have been much better. We were halfway there when the rain came down of the day. She asked me up to her flat downtown of a fine soft day. I ask you, friend, what's a fella to do? 'Cause her hair was black and her eyes were blue. Well, I took her hand and I gave her a twirl, and I lost my heart to a Galway girl. Yeah, say it again. The penny whistle would be so much better. When I woke up, I was all alone, with a broken heart and a ticket home. Day. I ask you now, tell me what would you do if her hair was black and her eyes were blue? Well, I travel round, I've been all over this world. Boys, I never seen nothing like my Galway girl. It's really quite fun to look, to go on YouTube somewhere and find some of these like pop-up group things, whatever they call it. What do they used to call those? Pop-up? I forget what
yeah,
people
right.
and doing that song is such joy, and the idea that that it was freaking Steve Earle doing it. So I have
That's
great
amazing.
love for it. And he
That's
made one
I like
album.
that. I like that a lot. That that a national hymn is like
I know it's
from another country.
I know it's like it's kind of like I don't know where Hoagie Carmichael is from, but he right Georgia, and it's kind of like he's probably not from Georgia. Maybe he is. I don't know, but
yeah, good stuff. Yeah, that's a great tune.
But anyway, it's also funny too, and I think Bill Gagan would back this up, and my friend Eddie Wright, who is a very accomplished classical guitarist as well as a great bass player. He's been to Ireland. And Bill obviously lives there half the time or more, and
Right.
it is not Irish music is not easy. I am playing like a mutt version of this stuff. Like I should be in like tunings. I should be playing like
right
high on the neck. I should be doing like all sorts. And I should have a balalaika and a bazooki.
Why is it so hard? Like trying to learn. I'm doing this Irish gig on accordion on Thursday or tonight when the show is air.
Right.
I just did it. That's what happened.
Master of Time and Space.
I'm like, oh, let me plug that Dale Allen and Ray
right.
and Dave Rao are at the Horseshoe. Oh,
well, they were at the Horseshoe
3 days ago.
3 days ago, they were at the Horseshoe.
Right now, 3 days ago,
Your plug is going nowhere for anyone.
Irish music is hard. Like repeating patterns that don't repeat. They're like
right,
and it doesn't repeat for it's like crazy.
And rhythmically, it's on time, but it's a funny time. Like it's. I'm sure that if you counted it out, it would make sense, but it just feels, like
right.
I love it, and for my whole life, and I hope I haven't already told this story on this, but I'm halfway into my tequila right now. But my mother, my whole life told us that, she told me that I was half German, half Irish, my whole life, Nolman doesn't sound particularly Irish, so it sounds like I might have a German thing, who knows?
Could be.
So my sister, who was very possessed with like the DNA thing and all that, she gives me like ancestry.com for Christmas one time. And I take the saliva test and I do that and we get the results back and zero German, like none,
Wow.
Irish, like 80%. And the rest of the things were all influences that had invaded Ireland at one point or time.
Roman.
So it was like Scandinavian, and it was Roman. It was. I literally had some Roman. Italian. But I know it's not from Italy.
No, Roman. Yeah, they were big
Romans in places. Ireland. So I come by my Irish thing, and I like. Ireland is like something like you sort of feel like I just feel fucking Irish, I just feel like I'm Irish, and some of that is just, I can wallow in despair. I can show great joy, and I can also show great melancholy. And I love my friends. I hate my enemies. I'm good for a fight. I'm going like whatever, like whatever, And I was very happy to find out that was my thing. Though I had nothing with like the precision of the German influence, that would be okay
very
too.
Cool. I was scared to do it because I thought I got it for Christmas once too, and I gave it back because I really thought it through. I was excited to do it, and then I thought, someday, and not today, but in 20 years, they're going to have my DNA sequenced, and who knows what's going to be possible then, and this company owns my, Ancestry, I think, is owned by the Mormons. Did you know that?
Awesome. It just increases your chance of a date on a Saturday night.
I just don't like the idea that maybe my DNA sequence is worth something someday. Like they might go, oh, we don't judge you on your health insurance, except that we have your DNA now and you're predisposed for this up. We're turning you, no reason. We're just turning you down,
Like as you posted, when you mentioned something and suddenly you got ads popping up on your feed, it's like I used to drive people to the airport, right? So I'm driving this guy, and very seems like a very affluent Asian man. I don't know if that really has any relevance here, or whether that just seems like I'm racially profiling. I don't know, but he just, he lives in Westport, and I pick him up and I'm taking him to one of the things, and I'm taking him in his car. That's the model of the company I'm working for. Right. And when we get to the toll booth at the Whitestone Bridge, I'm like, "Do you have Easy Pass?" And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "Really? Like, you want to wait in this? Okay. May I ask why you don't?" He says, "I don't want to be on the grid." And I'm like, "Do you have a cell phone?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "Okay." And this guy was like a security expert.
Got a chip in his
really,
neck
you
right
think
here.
that Easy Pass is that's the first level of
right.
No,
I agree. I don't have
level.
Easy Pass for the same stupid reason, and I'm so on the grid.
And yet you mention one thing, and it pops up on your Facebook feed. You're on the fucking grid.
I'm on the grid. I gotta give it up. So maybe I should just give my DNA. But my DNA, like, they'd have to like get me to drink out of a glass or something. They've
already done that, Ed.
If they do a COVID test, they could technically sequence your DNA out of a COVID test, right?
Yep.
So they did.
My thing is kind of like, it's kind of like, I think we've talked about this before, getting on an airplane. I have to exhibit a lot of trust in a whole bunch of shit that's going on there. And it's like, somebody wants to get my DNA, they can get my DNA. I'm not going to spend millions of dollars on some sort of a security system, or some, when basically if they want to break a window and get in, they can get in and then get out in time to whatever. It's like, right. Some of this stuff is just, it sounds great as a concept, but in reality, it's very difficult to do that. And the alternative is like you live in Montana, right? In some Reichstag in Montana, and you're far away from all of this other stuff.
You ever see the movie Gattaca?
Yes.
Great movie. So it's
Ethan Hawke, right? Ethan Hawke
and Uma Thurman. It might be her first movie. Like, it was a great movie and
right.
One of my favorites. And in the movie, it's about a world where to get a job, you just, you give a blood sample or a saliva sample, and they go, "Oh, congratulations, you're hired," because they got everything about you. They got all your aptitudes, your
right.
IQ and your birthday, your death date and what you're going to die of and all this stuff. And at one point, Uma Thurman, she kisses him and then takes a sample and goes to a window and she's like, she holds out the swab, or no, they swab her and they go, "How fresh is the sample?" And she said, "I kissed him 5 minutes ago." And they go, "Okay." And they give her like a big roll of like all his traits and everything.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't want the Mormons. Apparently they already sold the data from their company, Ancestry, I think it was, to a major drug company like Merck or something for like $400 million. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, if it's worth $400 million, what are they doing exactly? And I didn't want to be part of that. So,
well, I mean, any of that, any data, I mean, isn't that the next frontier? With all apologies to Captain Kirk, isn't that really the next frontier? It's DNA, it's data mining. It's like, that's what it is. My only thing is just like, some of this is just inevitable. Some of this is just, I can't live a life that is going to, exclude me from contact with the kind of things that could do that if they want to do that. And if they want to do that, they can do it. And it's like, go ahead, man. You found that out about me. How is that going to fucking help you? Like, honestly, if Bill Nolan is the key to your empire,
I liked you better when
my friend.
I liked you better when I thought you were part German. So I don't know.
I can still say a few things in German. Of course, they're all from war movies. Fahrt mit ein torpedoes and Handen holen Engländer, and like that kind of stuff. I can do that, but
I speak German. So.
Was any of that like remotely German?
Pretty good, not bad.
Yeah, I'm good at accents, by the way. I studied French, but my accents is great. My vocabulary and my usage, not.
All right. All right, what do you got next?
If you can just say like two phrases and your accent is good, you won't get stiffed by your waiter in Paris. or at least go like,
exactly.
all right, at least this pig is trying, at least, this American.
Woody Allen, give me what you just ordered is a shoe stuffed with cheese, like French food.
I learned Spanish. I learned Spanish in a bodega, it's like, yo quiero dos huevos fritos con mantequilla solo pimienta, like that.
Wow, I'm impressed. I just learned that if you spell the word socks, you get SOCKS, which means it is what it is. I just learned that.
I saw that. It seems strange to me. Like
SOCKS.
Like the CK seems strange to me, but
SOCKS is apparently, means it.
All right, so this is a song. This is a song by that I got through a great album. If you like Irish music, it's a great album by Andy Irvine and Paul Brady. Paul Brady is someone who he dabbled in pop, so like he actually had some records where he actually duetted with Bonnie Raitt. She recorded some of his songs. He's a great guy. Andy Irvine is more like from the traditional thing, and he plays with Donald Lunny and all these guys who are like big guys in Ireland. And this is a song that I've always just loved to death, and it's called "My Heart's Tonight in Ireland." My heart's tonight is far away across the rolling sea, in the sweet Meltown Malbay, that's where I wanna be. So long ago and far away, and nothing can compare. My heart's tonight in Ireland, in the sweet County Clare. In the town of Scariff, the sun was shining in the sky. When Willie Clancy played his pipes, the tears went in my eyes. Many years past and gone since the times that we had there. Well, my heart's tonight in Ireland, in the sweet County Clare. My heart's tonight is far away across the rolling sea, in the sweet Milltown Malbay, that's where I long to be. So long ago and far away, and nothing can compare. My heart's tonight in Ireland, in the sweet County Clare. That August in Kilrush, when the rain was lashing down, and our hotel was gay on the outskirts of town. We were all sick and feverish, and Dolan had the flu. But Garney produced some whiskey, and the sun came shining through. My heart's tonight is far away across the rolling sea. Sweet Milltown Malbay, that's where I want to be. So long ago and far away, and nothing can compare. My heart's tonight in Ireland, in the sweet County Clare. Those nights in 6 Mile Bridge, when the songs and movement flow, and came the closing time, sure the lights were turned down low. The sergeant from Kilshishin would go buy us one more food, and never left the club, for the clock was soaking foam. So hearts tonight is far away across the rolling sea. Sweet Milltown Malbay, that's where I want to be. So long ago and far away, nothing can compare. My heart's tonight in Ireland, in the sweet County Clare. A Henchen, Estamont, Lochcanner and Conkey, but best of all was Milltown when the music flowed so free. Willie Clancy and the County Clare, I'm ever in your debt. For the sad sound of yesterday, I'm in the shining yet. Hearts tonight is far away across the rolling sea, in the sweet Milltown Malbay, that's where I want to be. So long ago and far away, nothing can compare. My heart's tonight in Ireland, in the sweet County Clare. In the days of Sweeney, in the sweet County Clare. I pooched that to some extent, but I must say it's still a great song, even if I pooched it.
No, that was great. Great tune. I love Irish music. The only time I really played Irish music, it wasn't really Irish music. It was Cajun. It was Cajun music. So
Well, there's a little connection, and Ed, if you are the master of segues, I must say that, because my next song is basically referencing, the Irish who ended up down in New Orleans,
right.
and and they ended up, certainly, I don't know if they influenced the Cajuns, but I know it wasn't vice versa, because
yeah, I mean,
they were
what
already
happened?
playing squeeze boxes. They, like the Irish were
Right.
playing that.
So when I was down there in Lafayette, Louisiana, I have a house in Nova Scotia, right? So I go up there, and there's a little visitor center in my town, because my town, the Sisebou River runs through the town, and on one side of the Sisebou River is the British territory, and on the other side was the French shore. Ran from literally, my house is the last house in the British section, and you cross the river and you end up like 30 miles or so of French shore, maybe more, down to Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, all along the Bay of Fundy. And the British at one point called on the French people there to fight in a war against France. And they're like, we're French, and we've been here 100 years. Like, we're not going to fight the French. There are, and the British are like, oh, really? Your allegiance is to the French? Get out. And they deported 10,000 of them and took their land, which is like all of them. And they went down, and they were the Acadians, and they went to Louisiana. A lot of them settled in Lafayette, Louisiana, and became the Cajuns, which is a southern way of saying.
I literally I did the song Acadian Driftwood a month or 2 months or whatever, and it was literally about that.
And, and they ended up down there, and there's a visitor center. There's the sister visitor center down there with all the same family names and all the people that ended up down there. And so when I played Zydeco music, which is Creole, not Cajun, like there's a big difference between Creole and Cajun. They said, well, after the Zydeco, which is performed, many people don't know, Zydeco is performed at breakfast. So they have Zydeco like dance parties that go from like 7 a.m. to 11 on Saturday morning, and that's it.
Wow.
And the restaurants aren't even open the rest of the week. Like, they're open for that 4-hour period to have that Zydeco dance party. And after that, you go down the street and you get in a circle and you play. There's violins and accordions and whatnot, and they play Irish sounding music, which they call the Cajun music.
Yep. Well, I will say this, that for you lucky 10 people who are watching this on Thursday, you are getting some deep, fun knowledge here, because that's good. I didn't know the distinction between Cajun and Creole. I didn't really know that.
It's big, and I knew it more, but Creole is very different than Cajun, and I'll look it up again. It's a great story.
I'll tell you, like everything, I'm just half watching this freaking stink bug, which is, he's just like, dude, you're headed for the toilet, so have fun right now. But anyway, when we do get into like a face-to-face thing or whatever, when that's, I have all sorts of stuff that would be so fun to play, and Cajun stuff. I got a bunch of those that would be really fun to play. And
that's cool. Speaking of people who are fun to play,
hey,
Randy Stone on a Monday night.
I know, we got Randy down here. How you doing, man?
I mean, on a Thursday night. I'm sorry. I mean, on a Thursday night.
Thursday night. It's Thursday night.
I know.
I'm in my time machine, and
this is time warping on this Thursday night.
The master of space and time.
How are you, boys?
Save us from ourselves. We've been doing Cajun and Creole, Nova Scotia history, and the history of Irish music in the South. I don't even know.
Wow, shit! I'm all about Cajun food and Cajun culture.
Well, I think that
I was raised by 2 Texans. We were just talking about at dinner tonight what I would do for a fresh dish of crawfish etouffee. My God,
I had a great crawfish etouffee. As a matter of fact, at a Zydeco breakfast in Bow Bridge, which is near Lafayette, Louisiana, and
I bet it was wonderful.
Gino Delafosse was playing, Grammy award-winning guy and whatever, Zydeco guy, and that's what I had for breakfast at like 8 o'clock in the morning. It was
I would
so
totally
good.
do that. Nothing. I used to go. My parents retired to Galveston before they passed, which is pretty much. I mean, it's the same culture.
Yeah.
And I would go down there and sit at this restaurant. I go with my dad, who was just as hedonistic as I am. We'd sit down at this place called Benno's, which is across from the seawall, and we would start at noon, and they would bring out trays of boiled crawfish, and then, gallons of crap Chardonnay, and we would sit. I remember leaving with him one time at 5. Like we just stayed. It was one of the most
all you can eat crawfish, right? All day long, you just stayed there.
Totally. If you like shrimp and you like lobster, you're going to like crawfish. And they put that spicy boil on it, which is kind of like that yellow can of Old Bay seasoning that you throw on stuff. It's just the best. And the other best thing about it was, I still can't believe this, dozen oysters, $2.99.
Oh, come on.
Gulf oysters. I mean, you can't get one up here for $2.99.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, there's something... my criteria for almost any location that I really fall in love with is it's always like equal measure music and food. Like if you have music and food and, you can talk about, Kansas City, you can talk about Chicago, you can talk about San Francisco, you can talk about New York. I mean, there's places with music and food. And to me, there is no greater place than New Orleans in terms of the conduit through which everything flowed north, like everything arrived there.
Yep.
African, Spanish, French.
I've been there 4 or 5 times and have the greatest meals of my life. I mean, Commander's Palace.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. But the thing about this thing at Galveston, because it was right on the seawall, you're missing one element. There were lots of pretty bathing suits coming from the beach to come into the restaurant. I mean, it was just, and my dad and I would look at each other like, this is great. Like, why would let's just stay here?
And that was Galveston. See, because in Lafayette and in New Orleans, they don't have a beach. There's no beach there.
No.
It's 100 miles of swamp to get to like the ocean.
Matter of fact, I did a swamp tour in New Orleans. Right. I saw this on the Travel Channel. You sign up, and this place sends around basically one of those vans like the rent-a-car vans, where you sit to the side and all that shit. And they go through New Orleans to every hotel, and they pick people up, and you go about an hour outside of New Orleans, and it gets a little like suburban, then it gets a little white trashy suburban, and then it gets a little like, holy shit, like below trailer park, because you get right to the water. And we got on one of those Everglade boats, with the big fan.
Right.
Yeah.
And the guy zooms out across this flat waterfront. I even asked him, like, what is the engine in that? He's like, it's a 455.
Yeah.
Like it's an 8-cylinder 455.
They don't screw around. They got 300 horsepower.
This thing was just like, and then he cuts it off. And then he gets out the pole and he brings you, and we saw alligators and the moss. And the guy was funny. He freaked out my wife. He's like, gotta be careful. Sometimes the snakes fall in the boat from those trees. That's all he needed to say.
Thanks.
and I could barely understand him.
Right.
And it's like you're in another country culturally.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's like even if you think you speak the language that they're basing their language on, like you're in another country. It's like a French guy isn't going to understand that stuff any better than we are. It's like.
But to your point, if you get off of the street, if you get off of the main drag in the French Quarter and get to like Frenchman Street or some of the other, that's where shit's happening. And it's absolutely amazingly authentic music. I mean, on Bourbon Street, it's kind of like bands you guys and I would be in.
I say yes, but there's a little bit more funk in some of these bands.
There is. No, Bill,
there's an element in these bands where they ain't from Fairfield County.
Know what I mean. I don't mean to disrespect them, but it's a little consumer friendly, if you will.
I got a funny
if you get down on Frenchman Street, they don't give a fuck. They're playing their shit. They're playing their shit.
If you want to enjoy it,
that's great.
I went down to Bourbon Street and there was this blues band that was there. And one of the guys in the band, it was his birthday. And so he's drunk and he's having a great time. And they have like they like just rolled into town, so they've got like their tip bucket with like it's written in like crayon on the tip bucket. Like
what a great life, you know. What
they've got their merch table with the like everything's been folded up so many times and unfolded. They're selling the CDs and whatever, and so the set's over, and I want to go talk to the guy, and so I go and hey, happy birthday, and he's like, oh, thanks very much, and I'm like, I thought you were drunk. He was like, slurring, and he's like, oh no, that's an act.
That's
And I said,
we gotta get people with the yeah.
I said, wait a minute. So how long have you? He said, every day is my birthday here. I said, well, how long have you been here? Like a week or two? Like how? He goes, no, I think it's 43 years.
That's right. Every day's my birthday.
I said, wait, what now? He said, yeah, this band or band like this band has been in this bar. We do this other place and we do this place, and we have like. They have shifts, so it's like you have a job with the Bourbon Street Company, and you go to the different bars as if you're touring through the area, but it's the same bands and the same people.
That's hilarious.
And then you go play with another band, whatever.
Or they just mix it up.
It's all like it's all Epcot Center. They're
Yeah.
not.
Go ahead, Bill. Sorry.
No, I mean New Orleans is it's one of these towns, kind of like New Haven, where a block makes a big difference. Like one block, you go 2 blocks in one area, you're in a different town, and you're definitely not in the Epcot Center. You know, you're in a place where
that's
things are more interesting, and in some cases,
Bourbon Street is what I'm talking about.
No, that was my point. And then, but you just go a little bit more towards the water,
then you get real places. Yeah, real people in real places.
The cab's like, I should let you off here. I'm like, what do you mean? Because they're all standing in the street with their solo cups. He's like, well, I can't take you exactly where you want to go, but it's down there. You should get off here.
Right.
Like he's not going to drive in the middle of the crowd. They're all standing in the street, which is.
You should get up here because the last 3 drivers were killed. You know,
right, exactly.
That thought did pass through my mind, and I mean, I don't want to portray myself as the weak gazelle in the herd, but I'm the fucking weak gazelle in the herd. You know, it's like.
No, but I'll tell you though, like everything, you know, like I don't know if you've ever been to like the Cafe Napoleon. Like Cafe Napoleon is a place. It's a place that's, you know, it's off the quarter. I mean, it's in the quarter, but it's off, you know, it's off the main drag. But it's a place where, you know, Tennessee Williams, who had a house around there, you know, like Tennessee Williams wrote stuff there. You know, the patina of the shit on the wall is crazy. And you go there and you have like a Jackson, you know, like a Jackson beer and a muffalata. And it's like, man, it's just dripping with like feel good shit, you know. Like
and history. Yeah. No, the place I went to on Frenchman Street, there were a couple of them, but one was just like that. I'll never remember the name of it. I know where it is. I can find it. I'll never remember that. And it was so old school, and the history, and shit. And the band was all locals. They fucking killed. There was
they
killed.
There are a couple of boxes that, you know, maybe you tick, you know, you go to a town and you get the opportunity to see a local band in a certain venue, and I saw the Nevilles at Tipitina's, and to me that was like, you know, it's like seeing the Dead at Winterland. You know, it was just something where it was just, you know, right place, right time, and just you felt the whole fucking thing, you know. And I love New Orleans so much. I mean, I've only been there like 4 times, but I mean,
I've been there about 5 times, and one time was for a business conference. And that was a class. I never got to bed before 4 a.m.
And were you like downtown then? You were like,
well, no, they rented it close to the French Quarter. There's a huge Sheraton right off of the French Quarter, which is where they could house 300 people and all that shit. But it turned out that the one guy was a global company at the time, and we sold our company to this global thing. And the one guy, I caught his attention. Somehow crawfish came up from China. He's from China, and they love crawfish in China. Oh, yeah. He's like, will you take me? I was like, yes, I will. We'll go to the Cafe Desire right in the middle of the French Quarter because it's showy and glitzy and all that shit. I had the best time with this dude. He was in heaven. He was so grateful that I took him. And he and I sat there like me and my old man one night and just ate crawfish and watched the people. It was cool.
You know,
I want to get on a plane. I want to go there now.
I've been down there. I was down there a couple of times. You know, for the Final Four, you know, I worked. I had ESPN as a client, and in those days it was easier to get tickets anyway. You could get them even in the lottery, but you know, I had them as clients. So we went down there a couple of times, and we used to stay at this hotel called the Maison du Puy, and we called it Maison Dopey you know, and it was like, you know, it was just like, it was so fucking great. You're like, the door opens and there's Digger Phelps, the coach of Notre Dame, and my bookie is with us, like Bobby Maloney and his girlfriend, and she like insults the shit out of like Digger Phelps, and I'm just like, this is what I like about this whole thing. Like she, you know, she takes a guy who's maybe a Hall of Fame coach, maybe not, I don't know, but anyway, she's just like, Digger, you fucking suck, you know. I love that.
That comes with the turf. You know, whenever I'm bitching about I can't get a gig or a booker fucked me over, has only happened about 5 times in the past fucking week. I go to Hyman Roth and Godfather 2. I didn't ask who put a bullet in Mo's eye, because this is the business we have chosen.
That is, greater words were never spoken. That
exactly. It's like, stop bitching. This is the business we have chosen.
It's true.
That is so
you
true.
Better like it, no matter, with all its quirks.
Well, frankly, if you're in it for some other frigging reason, you've missed the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, so get this. So get that. Hold on. I got to tell you this. So Vin, not Vinny that you know from the Lime restaurant, not that guy.
Oh yeah,
Vinny, the lead singer in the Hot Rubber Monkey Band. I just got back from Vermont with them last week. We're playing Wednesday night.
Hot
right?
Rubber Monkey Band.
I get it, exactly. I got an email, a text, a group text this morning from him. He says, I fell at home. I tore my rotator cuff. He's the lead singer and one of the guitar players in the band. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm not playing Wednesday night. And he's like, oh no, we're playing.
No,
listen, I ruined one of your shows talking about the gig that I muscled up for and did after my food poisoning. I won't repeat those stories, but you remember. It was an epic story.
Oh my God.
I can sum it up with one question I had to ask myself. This is after 2 days of torture and food poisoning. I got to go to this gig. I can't let my band down. I'm sitting there 3 songs in. I'm like, can I trust this fart? The answer was no.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And with that, Bill Delvin, you have a tasteful song to do for us?
Nobody sets me up better than Randy Stone. Thank you.
There you go, buddy.
But way back when, before we started this whole conversation, we were talking about the displaced people who ended up in the Cajun world. And this is an Irish song that I learned from Paul Brady again, this great Irish guy, and it's called Lakes of Pontchartrain.
I can't believe I was just about to beg you to learn the Lakes of Pontchartrain.
I've heard it may not be as good as you're hoping, but you know.
No, it's like we're clairvoyant, dude. That's amazing. All right.
It was on one fine March morning, I bid New Orleans adieu. I took the road to Jackson Town, my fortune there to renew. I cursed all foreign money, of the credit could I gain, which filled my heart with longing for the lakes of Pontchartrain. I stepped on board of a railway car, might meet the morning sun. Rode the road till the evening wore me down on Penangle. All stranger than no friends to me. Dark girl came down to me. I fell in love with the Creole girl by the lakes of Pontchartrain. I said, meet pretty, my girl, my money here's no good. I took the floorplaners and laid me down again. You're welcome here, kind stranger, from such sad thoughts refrain. For me, mammy welcomed strangers by the lakes of Pontchartrain. She took me into mammy's house and treated me right well. The hair upon her shoulder brown with black when ringlets fell. To try and paint her beauty would surely be in vain. So handsome was my Creole girl in the lakes of Pontchartrain. Asked her if she'd marry me. She said that ne'er could be. For she'd got a lover and she was far off the sea. She said that she would wait for him and true she would remain till he returned to his Creole girl in the lakes of Pontchartrain. It's fare thee well, me Creole girl, I'll not see you no more. I'll never forget your kindness in the cottage by the shore. At each social gathering, a flowing will drain. I'll drink to health of my Creole girl in the lakes of Pontchartrain. I'll drink to health my Creole girl in the lakes of Pontchartrain. That's you must all though investigate Paul Brady. You know, Paul Brady's version of that. Paul Brady is a great guy, and Paul Brady and Andy Irvin did an album of Irish traditional stuff, and you know, with some of the great guys like Donald Lunny and guys that are like really, you know, the masters of Irish stuff, and he's got that sweet friggin' voice.
That was wonderful. I can't believe you pulled that song. I was thinking after this song, and I'm going to ask Bill to learn Lakes of Pontchartrain. Jesus Christ. And the version I know best is by a band called by the way, hi Dave. How are you, man?
Dave Lindsay. How you doing, Dave?
What's up, kids?
What's for dinner going?
Good. These three Canadian chicks called the Be Good Tanyas.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
They're fabulous. Sure. I think they broke up long ago, and they only play old school songs and period instruments. They're just cool as fuck. And they do a version of that song, which will make you weep, and I will send you a link to it.
That
great. And again, I say, you know, Andy Irvin and Paul Brady did an album that is really just, you know, astounding. And Andy Irvin, when he gets together with other guys, like I said, the guys like Donald Lunny, there's a lot of stuff on Facebook where you just sit there, you know, like you know, they've got that one song, the song about the racehorse. It's like Stewball, but it's kind of like Irish version of Stewball. But it's, you know,
you know so much more than me. I'm like sitting in your classroom right now. You're mentioning names I just don't know, but apparently I should know.
But I mean, this is a really simple place to start, though. You know, like it's like Andy Irvin, Irvine, and Paul Brady.
Okay,
like go to the album they did together, and it's just so freaking good. If your DNA checks out that you're Irish, you know.
Are you Irish, Dave Lindsay? Are you Irish?
There's a hair. It's more Scottish. Like
that's good.
David Lindsay is a pretty famous Scottish name.
Oh,
you
yeah.
Go look it up. Yeah.
Oh, hang on. This just into the newsroom. Stand by.
Yes.
Oh my God. And I only told Sherry to hold her phone like this, not like this, 100 times. Turn your phone.
A live thing, actually. Thank you.
Like
and
this.
we can't hear you, but say hi to Helen.
Hi.
Helen.
And Dale.
Hello.
This is live from the
And
Horseshoe.
They're at the Horseshoe
and
live
Francie,
3
wait,
days
if I go
ago
like
on
this, is that
Monday.
better?
Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
better.
There we go.
Who we got there? Who's that?
Take a picture.
Who's that?
Take a picture because it's not going to last forever, Ed.
It's found Larry and Dale.
Oh my God.
I have to go eat because our food just came.
All right, you go
The
eat.
free
Good to
meal.
see you.
You don't pass up
All
the
right.
free meal at the
Having a great
Horseshoe. You
time.
take the meal.
Oh my God! Yeah, they just finished playing at the Horseshoe, and they
They
dropped
probably
by.
did, yeah. I
And
wanna
you do
go
not
there, but
pass up the meal.
I wanted to see you last week, Bill. How did that go?
It was fun.
I was there. I was
It was
there.
fun.
You
You know,
were
it's like,
It's,
I was a little.
It's parking lotto for me. It's parking lotto. If I get a space, it's cool. But if I don't, they're like, "Yeah, there's a space 2 blocks down there." All right, that'll take me 45 minutes to get here. So I'm
Right.
You know, it was one of these things where I had played like a month ago. I had done like a solo thing a month ago that I had sort of prepared for. And, for this thing, it was so last minute. I was just, though no one would know the difference or even know what I'm talking about, I didn't want to play anything I had played the time before.
yeah, I got you.
So it sort of put me into like a thing where I hadn't, I was doing stuff that, if somebody just walked up, I don't know. But I thought it was fine. And Ed Train came there.
I did. I was
Did
in
you
the
play?
neighborhood, and I heard Bill Nolan was there, and I
Did you
was like,
play?
"Oh, I'm going then."
He did play, but not with
Nice.
me. But he played that amazing
That
dwarf
little-
keyboard that he plays that had the greatest Hammond sound I've ever freaking heard.
It
It
worked.
really is. It's fun.
That last week's show, I sent that video that Ed played of him doing on "I Will Survive." Sounds like a fucking Hammond.
It's a real thing, It's super good. But yeah, so okay, Lindsay's Scottish. Nolan is not German, maybe
I'm
Roman,
Irish.
but a lot of Irish. And what about you, Randy Stone?
I am completely German. No
German.
deviation.
Forget to see them what happened.
100% German. It was coming from Steinhagen, und then it was Stein, und then in Ellis Island it was fucking Stone.
In Rikers Island? Is that where you came from?
No, Ellis, I said. Don't
That's where he's going.
be cute, or we have a special room for you for re-education.
Ellis Island was a
Behavioral
quarantine hospital, so it makes complete
experimentation.
sense. Yeah.
Yes, we will experiment on you. Yeah.
Oh my God. So did the Scottish kill a lot of Irish? Like, did they war with each other or no?
I basically, when it's St. Patty's Day, I go with Irish.
Yeah,
There you go.
We can all get along.
I agree.
It's the UK, right?
Nobody gets
Freaking Brits. At least we got no Brits here.
I know, but it's like the German. There's there's St. Patrick's Day parade. There's the Irish. I mean, there's the Italian American parade, the Puerto Rican parade. There's every. Where's the German Day parade? Because when we have a parade, it usually means we're invading a country.
They
That's our
don't
parade.
want exactly.
The last really good parade you had was
too much.
38.
Yes, we're having a parade into Paris. It's a parade. Yes.
No marching for the Germans. Thank you very much.
I know. Nolan, while you were playing that song, literally while you were playing the song, I picked up a gig.
What?
Serious.
You're
Why
welcome.
or what?
I'm playing. Ann Messinger.
Yeah.
You probably know maybe from my basement jams or stuff. I used to play. Well, she has this act, Fred and Ethel, with her boyfriend Joe, and turns out
Great
they're
name.
doing a gazebo gig in Fairfield in August, and they're going to actually put a band together for it. They want me to play bass. I'm thrilled. It's going to be great.
And Joe and I just finished playing at the Irish Club at the Gaelic
Oh no
Club.
shit! He was part of that.
And the show that we did just before this show aired on Thursday. What I don't know.
Yeah, he
He's
knows. He's like Bill. He knows a ton of songs, man. But I adore her. I think she's cool and talented, and she's cool.
Yeah, very cool. I'm glad
Hey,
I
are
have
we-
to go.
Are we
Play
time
another song. Give me
traveling
another
now?
gig.
Yeah, we're time traveling. We're not. Everybody knows
It's
we're
elusive.
taping this on Monday, and so I was like plugging Dale and Sherry and Dave Rao and Ray Simonelli just finished at the Horseshoe.
Right.
I mean, 3 days ago.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Busted.
Well, some people are probably watching this live now, right?
No, there's no live. There's no
I
live.
see.
This is all going to tape. I actually have a
gotcha.
cassette recorder going.
What can we do with this?
There's no. The nice thing is there's no time constraints, which is obvious.
Yes, as opposed to the well-disciplined. Yeah.
That's so.
What's funny is we're on this show, and we got Dale, and we got Sherry, and we got Helen from Kurt and Helen, and we're not even on the air.
I know.
Right.
It's genius, you know.
Who knows who else might show up?
There's another town, the Kurt and Helen band. They're fun too.
Yeah, they're fun to play with. You know what's fun when you play with them is it's like such a love fest. Like I've done that gig a couple of times with like Scott Spray and Tim DeHuff.
Right, yeah, bingo. Yes, thank you.
And it's really fun. That is fun.
Dave Rao was one of those Westport Corner days that he used to sponsor around the corner of Westport.
Yeah,
and it was great. I got hooked into like 5 acts. I just sat there all day.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. I showed up with my little keyboard. I'm like, you need a keyboard player? You need a keyboard player?
Let me finish the story. And I did great I played with Christine Cook, and I played with, I don't know who else. It was great. And then it was Kurt and Helen's time. And they I think Kurt had been sick, so they changed the set list, but then they changed it back. I didn't know the set list. To say I shit the bed does not do it justice. I'm sitting there with Tim DeHuff, like one of the best players in the area. He's like, just do the one and I'm like, I know. I was so embarrassed. I was so fucking because
you had the wrong strings. You had the wrong strings. That was your problem.
Yeah. The rest of the day went great. I knew the material. I played it, and boy, did I shit. God bless them. They got Scott Spray, so they don't need to talk to me anymore because he's.
But they have some funny songs though. Like I know a lot of songs, but I don't know a lot of the super commercial, more contemporary country songs. I don't know them that well. Like I don't know a lot of Brooks and Dunn songs. I don't.
Yeah, or the song Pontoon.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then their original ones, the Snakeskin Boots song. It's all good stuff, but I just didn't fucking know it.
Yeah. No,
so I'm trying to pick this up, and I'm not picking up well at all. I'm shitting the bed in real time. Like
the last gig I had with them, we played at some like yacht club in I don't know, it was like Black Rock or somewhere, and it was friggin' freezing. It was so cold, and this wind was blowing, and we're outdoors. And I kept thinking they were going to call it. And you're just playing there, but you're playing with Scott and you play with Tim DeHuff. It's all good.
Yeah. Those guys they're the real deal.
Yeah.
I remember that date, Randy, because Kurt had just gotten out of the hospital.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we barely made it here today. We were going to cancel.
The set list that I had practiced was like, puff, here's the new set list. And I should, I'm not making excuses. I should have done better than I did, but I'm surprised they'll even talk to me.
They're friendly.
She just talked to you from the Horseshoe live. She didn't even know it.
She's a total sweetheart.
All right,
and he's a cool dude, but I'm proud of my skills, but I ain't no Scott Spray, that's for sure.
There you go. Where are you playing on St. Patty's Day today, Bill?
St. Patty's Day today.
I'm playing it at OG Social. But as you look at this, I will have already played because it's like it's like there's nothing better than a happy hour St. Patty's Day gig.
Oh my God! Yeah,
I will be playing at 77 Rock House Road in Easton with the Rough Dogs in my jam basement.
Nice,
sweet
on Thursday.
Yes, today.
It's happening. Right. Whatever.
When they're looking at this, you might actually be playing at the time that you're talking about it.
I just took a quick break just to say hi.
So everybody run over to Randy's house, bang on the door. They're there right now with a lot of wine.
I'll be popping the wine. Come on, kids.
Wait,
we just took a quick break to start a little.
I don't know how to plug something when the show is airing later. I don't know how to plug.
Well, my gig is not on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh my God!
So my gig is on Saturday.
Where?
The 19th at Sugar Hollow Tap Room.
The day after tomorrow. Go to Sugar Hollow. Who you
playing? Saturday the 19th. Grateful Dead All Stars. We'll be there rocking that place again.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to that. Hopefully it won't be crazy like the people on St. Patrick's Day will be done with their nonsense.
Yeah. The last St. Patty's gig I did was not last year. Must have been pre-COVID, I guess. And it was O'Neill's in South
Right.
Norwalk.
Right.
Crazy.
Right.
We had a blast, but it was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's always nuts down there for sure.
Great place. I love it. But on St. Patty's Day,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. The
I was
Gaelic
just
Club is gonna be
remembering
crazy.
Did you guys see Paula Gallo had posted something about some drunk guy fell into her at a gig. I think it was at Panza, and this was maybe a month within the last couple months, and she posted about it online, and I'm like, yeah, we've all had that happen, some idiot.
Sure.
Oh yeah, I
falling
was
into
playing.
the
I was
stage.
playing at a club in the place was called Casablanca. It was off Exit 9 in Stamford, and I know there's no such thing as the mafia except on Tony Soprano, right?
Yeah,
or the
sure.
Sopranos.
Yeah, sure.
But this place,
That
oh
makes
my
you feel
God,
better.
right? And so Casablanca, like I showed up early for the gig and I walked in and I was like, I'll wait in my car. Thank you very much,
exactly.
right? And so there was this woman dancing and she danced. We all watched her. It was the Blues Patrol. We had like a 10-piece band with a horn section. And she danced backwards and she tripped over the monitor. And she went, and Jake, like John Belushi, James, the character, he steps aside, right? And there's a guitar and a Selmer Mark VI or whatever, a saxophone, and Jake's amp, and he steps aside and she hits the guitar with her butt on the way down at a 45-degree angle. It goes into the saxophone, which goes back and pierces through the amp, the guitar amp, and through the speaker of the amp, bending the sax, breaking the guitar, and it was like nobody's paying for that shit at that place.
No.
Right.
When all along he should have just let her fall into his lap.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. Quarter.
Yeah,
I might have got one.
exactly. Oh my
Three
God.
CD at, like,
Bad instincts there. Your instincts were
Drunk people falling onto the stage. At one point, I was playing with a band. I was playing with Soul Daddy with Mark Ciccolo and Dan Scigompaglia. I just said that because I want everybody to know I can pronounce their names. Okay, that's all I'm saying. We were at Sales in Rowayton or wherever.
We pronounced Sales really well.
We were at Sales, and some guy was harassing this other guy's wife. And he went like, the guy was like, could you not please speak to her? She's like, can you please not speak to her? I was watching it happen. Like the show, when you're playing, the show is the audience, right?
Yeah.
And I'm watching this going on. And finally, the guy turns around, grabs the guy by the collar, and decks him. But he decks him as he's pushing him backwards into the speaker tower that we had, which promptly fell towards the stage. So we all like stopped playing and grabbed this giant Yamaha 15 falling into the stage. And we're standing there and this guy's pummeling this guy against the speaker, right? And as soon as it's over, of course they just like 2 rounds, it's over and then they fight again. And the bartender gets up, the owner and the bartender come out and they go, everybody out, we're closed. Because they wanted to be closed before the cops showed up.
Of course, absolutely.
And we're like, it was like 1 hour into the gig. And I'm like, what just happened? They paid us, but
I was just going to say, I would assume they came out like, here's your pay, pack your shit and get
they
the fuck
paid
out
us.
of
They're
here.
like, get out. We're closed. And we don't want the police to get here.
I don't blame them. They know what they're doing.
You just want the first part of that sentence to be, here's your pay. You want that first.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, but don't linger and hang out and chat like you bands tend to do.
Now. They literally kicked everybody out. Like the whole bar was packed, and they're like, "Get out!"
This is in an evening of segues. My final presentation here, not that anybody asked for it or is even looking forward to it, is a song, again, a Steve Earle song. Steve Earle has a great Irish thing going on here, but it's about the Irish guys who ended up in the 20th Maine, that fought in Gettysburg, and what they decided when the Irish came off the boats, and here they are in the shipyards, regardless of what their CV was, not that they had one, but regardless of what their talents were, they figured right off the bat their talents are fighting. So they're like, here you are, you're off to the Civil War, enjoy, and now you're a real American. So this is what that's about. And it's about like the 20th Maine, which was all Irish guys. And they had a guy who, Joshua Chamberlain, who was their, was a colonel. He was a colonel for them, and they all really liked him. And he stood up big in Gettysburg, and that's what this song is about. So it's about Irish fighting. It's a segue, Ed. What can I do? I can't.
Nice.
It's a gift. I can't stop myself. I just can't help.
That's very deft.
I wish I had thought of it.
So this is called Dixieland, and it's a Steve Earle song. I am a Kilrain, I'm a fighting man, and I come from County Clare. The Brits would hang me for a Finian. I took my leave up there. Went across the ocean in the Erie and the vilest tub afloat. The captain's brother was a railroad man, and he met us at the boat. I joined up with the 20th Maine. Like I said, my friend, I'm a fighting man. Going down the deep inland, we're all going down to Dixieland. I'm a Kilrain of the 20th Maine, and we fight for Chamberlain. He stood right with us when the Johnnies came, like a banshee in the wind. When the smoke cleared out of Gettysburg, many a mother wept. Many a good boy died there, sure, and the air just smelled like death. I am Kilrain of the 20th Maine, and I'd march to hell and back again. Colonel Joshua Chamberlain, we're all going down to Dixieland. I am a Kilrain, I'm a damn thing, and I damn all gentlemen, whose only worth is the father's name and the sweat of a working man. When we came from the farms and the city streets, 100 foreign lands, we spilled the blood in battle's heat, now we're all American. I'm Kilrain of the 20th Maine, did I tell you, friend, I'm a fighting man. I'll not be back this way again, we're all going back to Dixieland.
Yeah.
That was the
Hey.
Holly.
Hi.
Holly.
Girl, I've been thinking about you.
I've been thinking about you
In a weird
guys.
way.
Whoa.
How's it going? It's
You're the
never
first
in a
one to get
weird
that
way.
line in.
Yeah.
I'm a weird person, so it can't be in a weird way.
Look
It's
at
all
you
good.
with your blonde streak. What's going on down there?
Blonde streak. I'm just, I'm bringing in the gray that is, evident and eventual. So trying to coax it in easy there.
Inevitable.
That's it. It is inevitable, no
Happy
doubt.
St. Patrick's Day.
Happy Patty's Day to you guys as well.
Masters of time and space.
It's
That's
Monday.
it.
I
That's
can't
it.
wait to see you guys, Bill Dolman and Holly, play again. We'll have to do something if I don't have a jam going.
When's a good time to call you? Because I got some ideas.
Anytime.
Anytime.
Okay. No, not you, Ed. I know.
I'm free too, Bill.
Yeah, I'm free. Believe me, I'm free. I'll even pay. Just call me. Sell me a warranty. Anything.
Right?
Are you playing St. Patty's Day today, Holly?
I'm not. I'm actually taking a little time to just get the last little bits of the album stitched up and tied together. And sorry, I've got a dog. I've got my Irish dog Tilly in my face right now, begging for attention.
Irish dog.
Tilly.
Well, her name is Tilly, so Miss Tilly Divine.
Nice.
But so I've kind of taken a little hiatus from playing. I think the next gig that we have is not going to be until June. 26th. So we got a little time, wrapping things up, getting
Don't
things
be so
together.
sure of that.
Oh,
I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
26.
don't be so sure.
I'm sorry.
I
Have
know
you
every
booked
gig I
me
have
for
this
something
year.
in
I have it all
Budapest?
memorized.
Yeah.
All 4 of them,
Right.
So when's the album dropping? What's happening with that, Holly?
That's kind of still up in the air. Really. I mean, I can tell you that the next single, which is my favorite, it's the one I wrote about my ex-husband, called "The Devil's Gonna Cut You Down," is actually going to come out on my birthday, April 26th. So that's going to be the next one, and then we'll see. I'm hopeful by maybe the end of May, 1st of June, but we'll see.
Cool.
Nice.
Very cool. I'll try to get my album out sometime around then too.
It would be helpful if you could, Ed.
Yeah.
We could bounce things
We'll do
off
a
one
joint
another.
album release, CD release.
That's it.
I'm doing an electronic synthesizer version of all of Holly's music from her album.
Oh, I'm sorry for
All
anyone
yes,
who hears it.
I'm like, and now another Holly McCrary favorite.
Yes, and we were truly enthralled at all those little device demos that you did. Like, Jesus H, what? Jeez, I was like, is this a pedal demonstration? Do you work?
Yeah, I got these two, and I got.
Oh, and you dare make fun of bass players and their bass springs?
That's
How
the
dare you?
multi-track
How
studio.
dare
That's
me,
true.
sir, damn it!
Oh my God! Yeah, this is one of my new favorites. It's like they're all like little now,
Oh,
Hey, I
man.
wanted to ask you about your video editing program, because some of those effects are kind of cool, and I know they're just like a click, right? What are you using for that editing?
All right, it's very sophisticated. It's like it might be over all of our heads, but when you stream live on Facebook, they have effects like Snapchat, and you push.
Oh, is that what that's all about?
There's an effects button on the bottom, and you can that's what I'm using.
Okay.
I'm gonna raise my hand. Remember when they told us in songwriting class, it's the simplest move that makes the most impact?
That's it.
There you go.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
I literally
my
am
gosh.
doing Facebook because there's nothing worse than watching somebody like make music on one of these. It's like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
right? And so like you're like tweaking it knobs or whatever. So I
Right.
just have some crazy effects.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah,
like
yeah.
mesmerized. When I was in television back in the
riveting.
late 80s, I was in New York. We had a
Riveting.
television
That's the
studio.
word.
Randy.
And I had business cards made with a hologram across the business card. They were $5 per business card. Right?
Jesus.
We did not
What
give them out.
was
to
the
everybody.
ROI on that, man?
$5. We made like 50 of them. It was like a lot of money.
Spend it on the business cards.
Yeah, but
I can't buy you a drink. I
the name of
the
what we did was we had the name of the country. The name of the company.
hypnotism that is my business card.
Yes, the name of the company was printed over the hologram, which was the whole card.
Oh,
And like
Ed.
a foil hologram. And people, you give it to people, and nobody had ever seen anything like this. And they would sit through the entire meeting with you like this, like, wow, like what's on the Visa card.
I was going to say, what's on my MasterCard?
It's the same
Right.
technology, but it was big, and it was the Earth. And it would rotate and pass around the card, and people were like,
It must
"Wow!"
have gotten you a shitload of business.
I
They
mean,
never
Ed, that's
threw a card away. Like they
pretty
still have the
cool.
card.
Yeah.
They're on eBay right now.
They got the business card company a lot of business. Hey, where do I get one of these?
I know.
Oh my God!
Remember
yeah.
that guy who had the
Oh,
wisdom
wow.
to spend his entire business plan on the fucking card?
That's it.
Where's the guy?
Like, it
Where's
was
the
like $5. You're like somebody be like, "Oh, give me your card." You're like, "No,
I want-
I need $5 for
you're not worthy.
You're
card
not worthy. Right?
You're not card worthy.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have
Hey, it's
multiple
a
cards.
tough room. Hey, yeah.
You're going to get the 10-cent card. And if you graduate and give me much business, I'll give you the hologram card
Yeah.
eventually.
Hey, I mean, the last time I had cards made, I upgraded for rounded corners and raised ink. That was
Oh.
my big deal.
Ooh.
So do you have to collect like so many of the 10 cents to trade in for the hologram? Are we like at a punch card stage
That's
here,
right.
or where are
That's
we
exactly
going?
right.
Ouch, baby,
Yeah,
that
each
hurts.
touch gives you one business card, and you collect 10 or 20. You're in.
My funny enough, my great grandmother got my wedding china by the punch tickets at the grocery store at Publix in Florida. So I mean, it got you
Wow.
something.
Like green stamps or something. I remember
Yep,
green
green
stamps.
stamps.
Don't
That's
knock
it,
it.
Ed.
Don't knock it.
Yep,
Speaking of Irish, green stamps. That's good
that's
stuff.
it. Oh
How do you
gosh.
think I got this fishing rod? Yeah, that's right.
Oh my God. Well, everybody, so happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy day, you guys. I'm gonna bounce. I'm gonna go get some banana
We're
bread.
all
I
going to
hope you
bounce.
guys
We're
take
all going
care.
to bounce. I will
All
see
right.
you all
I'm
soon.
gonna call
Bill
you.
Bowman, thank you for entertaining us on St. Patrick's Day.
You're the best, Bill. You're the
I
best,
know you all
Ed.
know
I hope
mine.
you have a great time. I'm at McDuff's, but it already happened last night on Wednesday night, and I'm at the Irish Club, but that just happened too. So
I'm
There you go.
I'm at OG Social tonight, but I was just hit by a car.
Oh no.
Maybe.
what? Oh my God!
It's very
All right.
confusing.
I will see all of you very soon in TV land. Next week is show 103 on GMTV, and I will see you all very soon.
Next week we're doing
Wonderland? There's no such place.
Excuse me,
Mr.
dear lady.
Wonka, I am a teacher of geography.
Oh, well, then you know all about it. And what a terrible country it is. Nothing but desolate wastes and fierce beasts. And the poor little Oompa Loompas were so small and helpless, they would get gobbled up right and left. A wang doodle would eat 10 of them for breakfast and think nothing of it. So I said, come and live with me in peace and safety, away from all the wang doodles and hornswogglers and snozwangers and rotten, vermicious knids.
Snozwangers? Vermicious knids? What kind of rubbish is that?
I'm sorry, but all questions must be submitted in writing. And
You